Hey, Internets! It's Paul. It's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here today to talk about The Punisher.
Yes.
The series from Netflix.
Yes.
Not one of the several movies that came out in various decades before this.
Yes.
This is 13 episodes.
Yes.
So we're not going to be breaking down each episode. It's this weird binge-watching thing. It's kind of tough to describe these things. But so we're going to describe the 13 hours that is The Punisher in this recap review thing that we're doing here. Okay,
Yes.
So just first thoughts. John Bernthal, awesome. Love him as the Punisher.
Yeah.
There are things I've got some quibbles with the show generally, but he ain't one of the quibbles.
No.
Like he embodies the Punisher as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
Very, very watchable, and the show held me. I mean, like I'm not usually not one to binge watch stuff like in the course of like a single day or something. And I didn't single day this, but I watched it over the course of 3 days.
Wow.
3 days, I pretty much got through 13 episodes.
Wow.
So for me to like make me go, okay, yeah, what's next? That's a big vote of confidence, cha-ching, from my standpoint.
I've done that many times, but I will often be fatigued at the end of the run of shows, as I was in this one.
Okay.
But, hey, since it happens to me all the time, I really can't, fault the show.
Well, you're saying you got to the 13th episode and you were kind of like, why didn't I wait till tomorrow to watch this episode?
No, just sort of like, now they're going to fight. It seems like they just keep fighting. Just constantly fighting.
Okay, well, let's just jump to the end then. So the
That's
end.
what I did. I jumped to the end. I was like, I bet I know who's going to win.
Yes. Yeah, it was tragic when the Punisher got killed, and I did not see that coming. No, so yeah, it leads you to think for most of the time that the main villain is Rollins. For a significant portion of the 13 episodes, you think the main villain is Rollins.
Yes.
It is not.
No.
It is his old buddy Billy Russo, who is going to become Jigsaw in probably season 2 of The Punisher.
If he
is a
survived,
thing. Oh, he's definitely survived. They had him in the bandages.
Oh, see, I didn't notice.
Now, Paul
skipped ahead. I just assumed he was dead.
Yeah, they did a callback to him in the bandages, sitting in a hospital with like.
Oh, so it's because he's a Jigsaw.
Yeah, his face is totally because they did that. I think that's almost directly from the comics when he drags his face across the glass.
No,
it's like basically just rubs his skin off. Painful. Look painful. Yeah. So yes,
that's good though because I think he's well drawn, that villain. He's certainly a good actor, and by having him appear credibly nice for a good part of the series.
they totally, because I mean I knew just from being spoiled on it, I suppose, that okay, this guy is Jigsaw, so he's gonna be bad. But boy, they didn't give you any clues that guy was a bad guy for the first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And then they do the end of, it's either episode 6 or episode 7 reveal, where he's like, he was trying to get the Punisher, Frank, to show up. I'll get you out of the country. And then they pretty much got a trap laid for him. And then Frank doesn't show up.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, I'll get him next time. And you're like, oh, he's with Rollins. But yeah, because I was watching it with the idea in mind of, okay, where's the clue that later you're like, aha! And they didn't show the card, the reveal on the magic trick on that one.
No.
So yeah, and he's cool. That's the guy who was also, this guy a bad guy. He was a bad guy. He was the bad guy to the bad guy in Westworld. So in some ways, the bad guy to the bad guy is almost like a good guy. But
I had forgotten completely that was the actor.
Yeah, that's the guy.
He was just.
He was a slimy jerk.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily he was just an immoral guy in that one.
Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah, he actually, if you were to play if you just take every episode of both of those shows, he was actually worse for a longer period of time in Westworld.
Yes.
But once he turns in the Punisher, he's bad.
Yes.
He's pretty damn bad.
He's not so...
he still has a code.
Blithely bad as he is in Westworld, though.
Right.
Where I feel as if... most of the time he's just playing a game.
Yeah,
So,
in Westworld.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, and he does have a code, and that's interesting. The code that Frank and Billy have, there are different types of codes. Sometimes, and Billy breaks it
Yep.
a few times.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the points about this show is it is very unlike, I would say, any other Marvel property in a couple of ways. One, if you liked all the jokes from Thor Ragnarok, you will not get them in The Punisher.
Right.
Because it is a very dark, almost depressingly dark show at times. Just dealing with PTSD, it's dealing with loss. It's a guy who constantly dreams about having his wife killed in front of his eyes.
Yes.
There's his sidekick Micro is basically haunted by the fact that he can't ever join his family. He gets to watch them on camera, hidden camera, but can't actually connect with them.
Yes.
And he feels that he's depressed.
Yes.
There are, I don't think there are any happy characters, except maybe at the very end when Micro gets reunited with his family. I think that's like a 5-minute section of the 13 episodes where someone is happy. Because there are a lot of unhappy / dead, or soon to be dead people.
Yes.
The body count is high, which you would expect from the Punisher. If it wasn't, it probably wouldn't be called the Punisher.
No. The Admonisher, maybe.
The Admonisher. The Insulter. And yeah, there's a couple of very big set pieces. They stagger them out. I mean, the pacing is a little odd at times. I mean, it's not just shoot.
Definitely not.
But when it does hit a big set piece, like the one where we see Frank in Afghanistan just kind of, what the hell, I'm going to run through this building and kill everyone.
Yes.
And then there's one in the woods up where he goes to the cabin of the former friend of his who's now off the grid, and then they get hunted down. Those scenes are played. I feel like there's a lot of John Wick in those scenes, personally. Which, if you haven't seen those action movies, Wick and Wick 2, as an action movie goes, they're good.
Sure.
They're action-y and interesting and violent as hell. But yeah, so Bang Bang, lots of I think he does a little bit of he has a sledgehammer violence, and he's got knife violence. For the most part, it's Bang Bang violence, which is another difference from Marvel. Most Marvel things, we don't see a dude with a gun shooting at people. For the most part, right?
I mean,
yeah.
With this one, he was back in Daredevil again. That's all. This character certainly shoots guns.
Yeah, right. No, I'm just saying he's different in that way.
Yes.
He's not necessarily. I mean, he is super powered in that he can take a hit. He gets just destroyed physically several times, and is forced to get up and then be good and fight again. And manages to do that. So we can assume in some way he's got super healing factor. I don't know. No, not really. But whatever.
No.
He almost has to in terms of...
You would think he would.
Yeah. But it is interesting because he is the least superpowered in some ways. Like who... I mean, like Hawkeye? Like who would you call... Like,
he's another guy. Hawkeye doesn't have any powers.
So he's maybe on that level.
Nor Falcon,
Good point. Okay, so I think he's on that level of hero. And they really don't connect this in a lot of ways to the other shows. They have Karen Page. That's your main connection.
Yeah.
And they've got the cop that was in Daredevil 3.
He was in the first one.
He was the first one. Okay.
So he makes cop in the first one. The second one.
Right. So the one who kind of like deals with Daredevil.
Yeah.
And he's now progressed up the ranks in copdom. But other than that, I mean, you could tell us if there's some obvious Easter eggs that are out there. I didn't see a lot of obvious connections to the rest of the MCU.
No, I can't even think if there was a Stan Lee.
There was not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So in some ways, yeah, it's its own standalone, and it's very dark. It is more violent than a typical Marvel thing. So I suppose those aren't. I'm not saying they're bad qualities necessarily. They're just it's different. It's its own show.
Yeah,
for sure. It has its own character to it. I really appreciated the relationship between Punisher and Micro. I thought that worked very well.
Yeah, that really did.
They're a team, but they're a reluctant team, and there's a whole episode that Punisher basically tortures Micro, and I will say Micro forgives him rather quickly for that. I'll say that. I don't know that I'd be as nice to be like.
It's interesting actually because it has echoes of the second season of Daredevil when they first meet, and then he's able to capture Daredevil.
And he tries to torture him to admitting that he's,
basically just like him.
Yeah.
Or push him to a point where he, give him a situation where he wouldn't have a choice but to kill somebody.
Right.
I mean, so it's interesting in that they capture and torture each other too. That's just how he makes friends.
That's how he makes friends. So that was very good. I liked the conceit of having Micro watching his family through the cameras. The Punisher being kind of the intermediary dealing with the family, knowing, at least for about half of the show, he knows that he's on camera.
Right.
And the family doesn't know.
There's the whole time he knows.
You think I thought at one point we see, maybe in episode 5 or something, we see a shot where Punisher sees the screen that Micro's been watching in the secret lair, and realizes, he's watching his family on the screen, because every time Punisher shows up, Micro.
Yeah, I know.
Control Alt Delete.
It didn't seem like it was a surprise to me. I mean, I felt like when he first went over there, I feel like he would have seen a camera, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, with his training, when he was like, there's a camera, maybe. I got the feeling that maybe there was a portion where he didn't see. But at the very least,
I feel as if
for a significant portion, he knows.
Okay, yeah.
And so the fact that the family doesn't know, and both of these guys do know, and there's I don't know, it's a weird, it's a cool scenario that they've placed up, and they don't ever really have to cop to it. I don't think there's ever a moment where Micro's like, hey, by the way, I secretly was filming everybody. I don't think he ever had to say that to the family, come to that moment.
No, because the larger crime was the whole, I'm dead.
Right. I'm back now.
But then...
By the way, I've been spying on you. I mean, that would be creepy.
They had that for season 2, so there you go.
That would be very creepy. I mean, on the one hand, you're like, that's nice that you were keeping tabs, but wait, I didn't know you were watching, and you were watching every room of the house? Anyway. So, yeah. He didn't ever have to...
Considering all the times they were attacked. It's like...
Yeah, that's true. We actually start the thing with Frank Castle finishes off the storyline, more or less, from Daredevil 3.
Right.
Where he gets rid of all of the people he thought were responsible for his family's death.
But that was phase 1.
That was phase 1. He then realizes, oh no, these other people, this secret organization. So it becomes a, we see these things from Afghanistan, we come back, it's a secret ops, special ops kind of thing. So it doesn't just take place in the city. There's a conspiracy. It's a giant conspiracy thing, basically. And some of that doesn't work as well. I think the time that we're not with the Punisher and Micro, some of that time, I wasn't as sold on Madani, for instance, and her relation. She's the cop. I don't know if she's a cop. She's an FBI agent, who is tracking down this. She had a friend who was murdered, and Micro gave her the video to prove it.
Right.
And it's actually the Punisher who shoots the guy.
Yes.
Which is interesting. I think they don't let him off the hook on that. Because I feel like they let Punisher off the hook a bit in this series, unlike in Daredevil 3, when we first meet him. There are times when he's pretty much psycho. I thought there were times where it was like, wow, this guy is kind of.
3.
Am I talking Daredevil? Am I doing the wrong one? Which one was he?
It was Daredevil 2.
Daredevil 2. Sorry. Okay.
It just might seem like there were 3 because one part was Punisher and the other part was Elektra.
Yeah. Okay. So there was 2. But he came off as a guy who wasn't, I wouldn't say heroic necessarily in Daredevil 2.
Oh, sure, no.
In this one, he kind of comes off as more of a hero. He's a hero who's got PTSD. Like all of his deaths, his killings seem to be of people who deserved it, or like whatever. He doesn't. There's no collateral damage, particularly with stuff that he does.
And the first one isn't either. I mean, you could argue, I guess. Well, you could argue this earlier in his tenure, I guess, or run. But I wonder if you could make an argument that his way of getting a tactical advantage over Daredevil was making it so that Daredevil believed that he might put civilian lives in danger. Not actually doing it.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
But making him believe that
he would.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe so. Now that was an interesting point that I also didn't think necessarily worked here was, Daredevil 2, I liked that moment I think you referred to where he's got Daredevil, he's like, you're one bad day away from being me.
Right.
So what he's basically saying is you're a hero now.
Yeah.
But you're just one bad day away from killing a dude and going over the edge and becoming me, who's over the edge and not a hero. It's kind of what he's saying, right?
Well, I mean, I feel like he's saying you're a vigilante. You're doing your own form of justice, but you then think that you can just fold them into the regular form of justice. So they're just going to get away, and they're going to that justice isn't the traditional forms of justice aren't just. So just do it yourself. That's what I feel like he's saying.
Okay, all right, because I was going to say
these people what they've done, kill them.
I was going to say in this one we have that moment where Billy Russo does the standard villain thing of you and I are the same person. We're the same, you and me, which felt weird. Like he had just said that, not just said it, but that's what he said basically to Daredevil,
right?
As the anti-hero basically, and now he's having the villain say that to him. It just seemed like it undercut that statement a little bit, maybe, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's
I feel
all
like
kind of part of the
I feel
same.
like it's a trope.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to pick a superhero movie where the person who posed doesn't claim that.
Yeah, you and I, we're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
I also have to admit, I did an eye roll at Billy Russo blowing up his hideout and walking away in slow motion without looking back. I'm like, oh, don't do the blow up the building and walk away without looking back. And they did it. I was like, shoot. Okay. All right, move on. Hey. So they did fall back into some standard trope.
When you guys blow up your wife will pull you away. You're like, no, I gotta see.
No, look back. I mean, at least I'll be like, is there some shrapnel coming? Or
it's like it's the Lot lesson,
or even
the Lot's wife lesson,
or even, geez, that looks pretty cool. I mean, you want to watch it? It's like the fireworks. All right. Anyway, so. What are some other cool things we saw?
I liked the guy with the PTSD.
Oh, Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Yeah, that storyline was interesting because at first I thought, where is this going? Like it just felt like a side issue that wasn't going to connect, and they connected it.
Yeah,
big time. Yeah. They brought it back around, and it was cool.
Yeah.
This guy, we see a whole story on him.
Yeah. Get a sense of his family and
then he turns, and you feel even some sympathy for that guy.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't necessarily.
No, definitely not.
If you didn't get the backstory.
They definitely, put him in the same light as, certain terrorist acts that have been performed here in the United States. So.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't want to feel any sympathy for those people. And
it was interesting because I thought when we were talking about Billy Russo and how I thought I was looking for signs that he was going to be evil. And so one of those signs I thought was when we see Billy paying for the support group. His old army buddy Curtis runs this, it's a recovery group. And so Billy's, you know what I mean? And then members of the recovery group, including Lewis, come and work for Billy. And so I thought, oh, he's getting these unstable PTSD guys to come be bad guys for him. But then, Curtis comes to him and says, yeah, actually, Lewis is really unstable, and I wouldn't hire him. And Billy's like, I'm sorry. Curtis told me not to hire you. I'm like, oh, crap. Oh, damn it. You're still the good guy. How did this work? So they fooled me on that one. But yeah, and so Lewis goes down a very bad path. Now, interestingly, this is a pretty big pro-Second Amendment show.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah.
They have the anti-gun guy being...
Oh, yes.
Like,
yeah, and Karen Page, they established very early on that she...
Second Amendment.
Wants to carry a gun.
Yeah.
To protect herself. So she...
So it's got a right-wing slant to it, I would say, the show, generally speaking.
You could argue that.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of how, 24, the series was a little like... there was West Wing was like, hey, the Democrats' version of yay. Oh, right. And then 24 was like, the Republicans' version of yay. This maybe slants more towards that side of things.
And I guess, you could say that the way they look at the gun issue, perhaps.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Just it was a thought as I was watching it, going,
right.
Okay, they don't really have anybody on the other side of this issue. I personally am on the other side of that issue, but I can understand why in a show called The Punisher, about a guy who shoots everybody in the face, maybe you're gonna.
It's like
that's the solution.
Those characters. That's where they're gonna be.
Yeah. I do like the way that we see. The Punisher punishes himself. I mean, emotionally at least.
Sure.
He is very hard on himself.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, and that's a cool. Like you could have just gone with the vengeance angle and just, my life's crap and I blame you. Kill everyone.
Well, that's that's Daredevil, and he wasn't Daredevil this time. The acts that he committed when he was a soldier, right. Even though. There's an aspect of, they told us to do this or whatever, but still, he definitely still committed those acts, so.
Yeah. No, but it's cool that they addressed that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Deepened it, actually. So
yeah.
It's not
quite a bit.
Just the fact that, I forgot someone else who killed my wife? Oh, okay.
More killing. Yeah. All right, let me...
It's like, when they were going to kill his wife, they were like, hey, everybody come along. You got any friends that might want to come along?
That bit of him in the beginning where he's just sledgehammering a wall over and over again till his hands bleed. It's just like in other words, he has no purpose in life anymore. Like right. I've done what I needed to do, but I'm not a person anymore, basically.
Right, and he doesn't attempt to. It's not like he's like, okay, well, it's my job to help people or protect people or whatever. It's like, oh, you're having a problem? Hey, don't talk to me.
It's true. I like the fact that he grows out the beard and then only really cuts it when people keep calling him a hipster. And he does it. Okay, fine. I'll clean shave now. So back to the Madani thing that. I thought once it became a procedural type show, wherever it would go back to them in the squad room or that seemed to, the energy, the momentum of the show kind of seemed to slow down there for me. And I didn't like her relationship with Stein. It was weird, and when they were drinking together in the hallway. At one point, and then he makes some comment about her love life, and it just felt odd, and I didn't see that. I didn't see that they had that kind of a relationship. I don't know. It just felt forced, and maybe it was just on the page and not really. I don't know if that's the acting or the writing or what.
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible they thought they'd start something in certain of the episodes, and then
because then Russo
changing it later on
bumps him off.
Right, bumps him off.
Although you feel like there was that moment, he's still alive when she's holding him.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess he couldn't talk probably. Yeah. But maybe he does little charades. Guy that you're dating, he sliced my throat. He just kind of sat there and I go, gurgle.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, series excellent. As I say, I was riveted through it. I got all the way to the end. You kind of slowed down by the end. You're like, all right, the big fight scene, it's coming.
Yeah.
And so
But
yeah,
like
but it was still very good. And I wonder. I mean, is there any talk of fitting any of these TV folks into any of the movies?
No.
Yeah, I think that's still
Typically, what they say is that that it's kind of difficult since their schedules aren't really.
and the contracts are
give them a
different.
lot of, yeah, they don't make deals to appear in the movies. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to. But,
Right? Why wouldn't you?
yeah.
Oh, the most popular movie of all time. You want to be a part of it? Sure. Why not?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But yeah. So we'll probably just see the Punisher in another movie. I do like, or another TV show. I do like pairing him up with other heroes. You know, heroes that maybe have a different code than he does. I think in this case, Micro was a little bit that way.
Right.
I like the fact that Micro basically was squeamish about blood and killing and stuff.
Right,
And so
right.
it was that he's very competent at what he does, but then when it comes to
Yeah, they need to. Yeah, that's one of the things I guess that makes it easier for him to have respect for life, is to be people who are concerned about the fact that he goes around killing. But it was interesting though that Micro was sort of like, okay, if you want to kill people,
Yeah.
I just want to get my family back.
Yeah.
So you can kill people in pursuit of that goal.
Rollins was okay, I thought, until he then basically just turned into a monster by the end. I would have preferred, in a show that was trying to be a little more grounded, I thought, generally, like, oh, these are people that have conspiracies and and not just like, oh, and by the way, he's just a sadistic, homicidal monster.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like at the end, I mean, that's what happens to
Like,
me.
thank goodness he's
Where
on
it's
camera
like-
being a monster.
It's like typically in these superhero stories where it's like, okay, we have the stuff going on with the characters, but now it's got to the point where people have to fight. You know, typically people end up being reduced to their most basic element, and he's a sick
Yeah.
creature. So, so it makes sense to me. But
Well, yeah, I mean, they wanted to make him
yeah,
horrible. So then you can do whatever you want to
yes,
him.
right, exactly. It's okay to kill him.
Beat him to a pulp.
Yes.
Which they did. So, yeah. Yes. Punisher. Check it out. You'll enjoy it. If you're in the Dork Lord, milieu.
Yes.
And we will be back later this week to talk about the next episode of Mr. Robot.
Yes.
And by the way, got my tickets for The Last Jedi IMAX Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. That's the only time I could get seats. But I got them. So hopefully this guy's going to watch them.
I think I'll try to go to a theater and see it.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we'll when that next
buy a ticket.
Good. That's a good one. Or you can whatever. Sneak in. I'm sure that'll be really easy on that first weekend. So anyway, yes, we'll be back with Mr. Robot. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Subscribe if you want notifications on things. If you have comments, please leave them, and we will respond. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.